Spirituality
Hey
as a
y'all, I'm
Process
back with
Part
another
1.
share, and in this share, I'm going to talk about spirituality as a process. Okay, spirituality as a process. Spirituality is a process. Okay, spirituality is basically it's a process of self-realization. Okay, it's also a process of transmutation and ultimately evolution. Okay, evolving. Okay, you're evolving into something greater. Okay, the more you seek knowledge, and the more you get to know yourself. Okay, it's a very personal thing. All right, very personal. So meaning that there's no one way to get to where you're going to ultimately get to. Okay, there are many roads, so there's no one way. So when I get on here, I'm just sharing information based on my own experience. Okay, so spirituality is a process, guys, and it's basically a process of self-realization. Okay, so basically, during this process, especially for those of you who are like in that very beginning stage, like you just waking up and you just starting to discover certain different things. Okay, some of you who are in the process of doing that healing work and doing that shadow work. Okay, remember, keep in mind that it's a process, guys. So meaning that you're never going to get to a place where you feel you're never going to get to a perfect place. Okay, never going to get to a perfect place. So drop all expectations when it comes down to that. Okay, because it is a process that never ends. Okay, so some of you who are doing that healing side of it and that shadow work, okay, basically what you're doing, okay, is you are getting to know yourself as far as your psychological processes are concerned. Okay, it's more to that, but we're gonna say in a nutshell, the process of self-realization is going to be you learning your own psychological processes that make you you. Okay, now when you're getting into the healing and the shadow work side of it, okay, it's going to be you recognizing. Okay,
Spirituality
so
as a
part two.
Process Part 2.
So when you're getting into the shadow work side, it's going to be you recognizing those aspects of yourself that have a significant impact on you emotionally. Okay, so you can think about spirituality basically as a study of psychology. Okay, because this is what it is. Okay, everything is mind. So what we're doing is we're getting to know our mental processes as a human. Okay, so this is at the most basic level of getting into spirituality. Okay, so this is what you're doing. You're learning, because ultimately this is about mastering your mind, right? Everything is mental. Everything starts with the mind. So you can look at spirituality as a study in psychology. Okay, because this is what you're doing. You're getting and information, and you're understanding and dissecting the way your mind processes information. Okay, based on what? Okay, everybody's what is going to be different. Okay, we all have different perspectives here. We all have different events in our lives that have caused us to be a certain way or to think a certain way. Okay, so at the very beginning of that, the stages of getting into spirituality, you're learning your mind. Okay, now when you start to do that, get into that shadow work, that healing work, and you start to recognize these things, and you can see it, okay, from a perspective outside of yourself, okay? So it's like you jumping outside and looking at yourself, okay, to become the judge, okay, of yourself, so that you can understand these psychological processes. Now, we all have different, I'm trying to find the right way to say this because I don't want to go over anybody's head. I don't want to go out there with the information. So once you get into this process, okay, you're going into the functions of your mind, okay? So as you're on that journey of healing and self-discovery and doing that shadow.
Spirituality as a process, part 3.
So once you begin to go into the process, okay, just to explain it a little bit more, I talk a lot about shadow work, but I'm going a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole with this one, okay? So once you begin to get into those processes, and you're doing the healing and you're doing the shadow work, you're going to discover things about yourself which are in so many words, okay? Your own personal demons, okay? Your own personal demons. Now, we're not talking spookism, y'all. We don't talk spookism. I mean, there's nothing spooky about this shit. Okay? It's just real shit. Like I said, it's basically you studying your own psychological processes. Okay? By you understanding your own psychological processes, you're able to understand others. Okay? Ultimately, this will lead you to unconditional love. Okay? And you'll be able to tap in so much more. Okay? Through understanding. All right, it's a process, y'all. There's so many different levels to this, so don't let me lose you where I'm at now. Okay, so anyway, back to your own personal demons. So personal demons will be things like self-doubt. Okay, the thought that comes up: I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not smart enough. Okay, those are the things that you discover, some of the things. Everybody has their own thing, guys. Everybody has their own personal demons. You call it what you want to call it, but the feeling that it gives you, that's what it is. Okay? So you'll start to discover those. All right? Now, what you're doing is when you're discovering those personal demons, you're recognizing them. You're getting to understand how they make you feel. And you want to go to the root cause of what actually made that sprout up in you. Okay? So think of it as a seed. Okay? That sprouted up and continued to grow. And it grew so much. It created so much self-doubt that this now is a part of you and your psychological makeup. Okay, so it's deeply embedded in you. All right. So these are the things that we're pulling out when we're doing the shadow work. Now, when we say pull out, we're bringing them to the surface so we can recognize.
Spirituality as a process, part 4.
I really don't want to have to do so many parts. But if anyone else is out there is interested in hearing more, just comment below or something and follow me on YouTube, and I can do longer videos on YouTube. Okay, but so we're bringing that to the surface so we can recognize what it is. So once we do that, then we can start the process of accepting that part of us. Okay. So now, because you can't get rid of it, right? You can't get rid of those things because they're so deeply embedded, okay? But the key is to recognize them so that ultimately you can transmute the energy into whatever else you would like it to be, okay? Now, this is how you begin. This is how you begin to reprogram the mind. Okay? So in place of self-doubt, you will put whatever positive thought you have. Okay? Make self-doubt non-existent there. Okay? So that's what you want to do. Everything is about balance. So what you're trying to do is integrate that part of yourself so that you understand. But it's a process, y'all. It's never ending. Okay? So just because you're in the healing process, right, and you feel like you've gotten past a certain thing, and I can even give you an example with something that happened to me today. Even if you think that you're past something, it'll always rear its ugly head. Okay? I might do another part just so I can share that with y'all. But what you're doing is basically you're learning to tame the beast within. Okay? Your demons. You're learning to tame them and keep them where you want them, right? Because it's all about mastering your mind. Okay? It's about understanding that you are in control of your mind. It's yours. Okay? So for those of you that are in the very beginning of the process, or you're somewhere in there where you're healing, and then all of a sudden you fall right back into a depression, or you get these negative thoughts, you want to transmute that. So I can give a demonstration. Okay, so this is the negative thought. Okay, this is the negative thought coming in. What you want to do is mute it, right? This is you muting it. You're understanding, you're recognizing what it is, how it's making you feel. You can even give it a name. In this case, we'll call it doubt. The demon is doubt.
Spirituality
Okay,
as a
part
process,
five. So
part 5.
All right, so this is you muting it, okay? You're recognizing what it is, how it makes you feel, where it's coming from, okay? Because you've been in the process of doing that work. So you understand the root causes of most of the things that are going on with you in your mind, in your own psychological process. Okay? So now you can name it. All right? You can name it. And you can send it away. Okay? With another thought. Okay? So if you're getting a thought of self-doubt, you just simply tell yourself, I am good enough. I'm good enough. That's good enough. Okay? And now you've transmuted the energy. Okay? That's how you do it. Simple. Okay? That's a way of doing it. All right? This is kind of like the same thing, guys. If you think about the scary movies, right? Like The Exorcist, right? With a girl who turned her head all the way around. Or any movie that involves some type of exorcism, right? So that is a demon, right? That's inside of that person. A demon has gotten inside of that person. Okay? And notice that when they always bring the priest in there, the priest cannot control the demon if the priest does not know the demon's name, right? So this is why it's important for you to understand exactly what the feeling is. You can give it its own name, okay? But in the example that I'm using, it's self-doubt. So call the demon out, okay? And then you're able to transmute the energy, okay? Guys, they show us this shit in movies, but it's so fantasized and spookerized. So we don't realize what's actually going on here, all right? But a lot of this has to do with psychological processes. I mean, before you can even get into the magic, because it's a magical thing within itself, okay? So this is on the most basic level of understanding, all right? I do want to share that experience, but I think I'm going to run out of time. I'm not really sure. But, you know, I woke up in a really bad mood this morning, okay, based on a dream that I had, which was basically, see, I ain't going to be able to finish, see my video at the end. I might do another one.